Hi everyone. Nautical accidents happen constantly, but only a few people manage to see one firsthand. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through some of the most terrifying boat wrecks in the world. So let's get into it. Cargo ship Sigrant. On February 28, 2019, an intoxicated captain steered the Russian cargo ship Sigrant into the Gangan-daego Bridge in Busan, South Korea. The ship crashed into the bridge and stopped all traffic on it. Repair of the bridge cost billions of crowns. Japanese patrol boats. On August 15, 2012 in Hong Kong, a fishing boat carrying 14 Chinese activists entered disputed waters. Two Japanese Coast Guard patrol boats chased it. The boats eventually succeeded in preventing the ship from continuing its voyage and detaining it. MSC Opera. In 2019, the giant cruise ship MSC Opera, with 13 decks, lost control of its engines, causing a collision with a smaller ship, the River Countess. The accident occurred in Venice, Italy, where the boat crashed loudly into the dock and shattered a smaller boat to pieces as if it were made of paper or plastic. Vita Spirit. In 2018, the crew of a ship managed to film the approach of a 225-meter-long tanker to the coastal villa on a video camera. From the 18th century, its value was estimated at $1 million. It is said that the Vita Spirit even dropped its anchor to stop, but it was not enough. The tanker crashed into this historic landmark, tearing part of the roof and damaging the cladding of the house. Toulon and SG. In 2017, the Toulon boat crashed into a U.S. Coast Guard ship. As a result of this collision, the Coast Guard ship SG-25 overturned upside down, while the Toulon ship did not even stop and simply continued sailing. Stella Bunner, February 24, 2020, the giant tanker Stella Bunner ran aground, severely tilting to the right. The crew was evacuated and the ship was rescued from the shallows so that rescue teams could retrieve the cargo, which comprised 3,500 tons of fuel oil and 275,000 tons of iron ore. Turns out the ship was beyond repair and had to be sunk. SCL Virginia and Ulive. On October 7, 2019, the container ship SCL Virginia had a fateful collision with the ferry Ulive, causing a massive hole in the tanker's side. Thick crude oil spilled out of the crack and spread along the beaches near Corsica. The accident occurred because the on-duty supervisor was chatting on the phone during the crash. He did not notice that the SCL Virginia had dropped anchor in an unusual place. The tanker appeared on the ferry's radar more than an hour before the collision, and the lights on the deck of SCL Virginia were turned on. Yogi. The luxury yacht Yogi, worth $39 million, also had a serious maritime accident. This elegant ship got wrecked due to the overheating of one of the engines after the door in the rear part of the deck got jammed and water started infiltrating the ship. When the ship broke down and the yacht's second engine failed after 5 hours, none of the crew members suffered any injuries except that they were all a bit soaked. Carnival Glory and Legend. In December 2019, passengers on two cruise ships were shocked by the collision of two vessels in the Mexican port of Cozumel. The Carnival Glory was attempting to dock when the Carnival Legend burrowed into the stern of the ship. No one knows what the real cause of the incident was, according to the officials. The special investigative version is the accident was caused by bad weather and strong winds. Excellent. The tourist ship Excellent crashed into a large tugboat. The employees saved themselves by fleeing when one of the gigantic cranes began to fall to the ground. Eventually, it landed directly on the cargo, causing a fire. It was all caused by extremely bad weather, rough seas. Cargo ship crasher. In the footage filmed by the camera surveillance system, a giant pickle suddenly appears. The side of the ship crashing into it crushes it like a Coca-Cola can. This collision occurred because the freighter was trying to pass too close to the mixed ship Girolato. Its rear part got caught in the lifeboats of a passing ship. No one was injured, but the damage was enormous. Those responsible certainly had a lot of explaining to do. Hanseatic Constitution. Sometimes an accident happens on board even before the ship sets sail. In April 2014, the 185-meter-long container ship Hanseatic Constitution strayed off course, heading straight for the football field of the University of Hong Kong. Rusty dust clouds began to rise from the anchor chains as the huge ship came to a stop right next to the field. The cause of the accident was stated as a power loss and strong winds. Mole comfort. In July 2013, 4,382 large containers and 7,041 smaller ones were loaded onto the cargo ship Mole Comfort. The ship was heading from Singapore to Saudi Arabia. It couldn't handle the weight, and the hull began to split. 1 APUS. Cargo ships can find themselves in difficulties even if they do not break apart on the water surface. The ship Apus was caught in a harsh storm in the swells of the Pacific Ocean. The entire stack, composed of 1,400-meter-tall containers, collapsed. From that, 1816 containers filled with batteries, fireworks, and 2 containers filled with liquid ethanol disappeared beneath the ocean's surface. The damage caused exceeded $200 million. Fortunately, none of the crew members were harmed. The ship returned safely to port. MV Reina. In October 2011 in New Zealand, a cargo ship loaded with containers of crude oil ran aground on the Astrolabe Reef. It caused the most serious maritime environmental disaster in New Zealand's history. The boat began to tilt and rock violently in the waves. More than 88 containers, some of which contained hazardous chemicals, collapsed into the sea. The captain and the captain's assistant spent 7 months in prison, and the ship's equipment, which endangered people's lives, caused the ship. It's Scody, Florence Spirita Alanis. What do you think? What did the captains of these 2 ships do? They seem to have been playing some kind of game. If that was the case, they both lost. In the video, the 12 700-ton heavy-duty ship Alanis, the 1 400-ton ship Florence Spirit, can be seen heading straight for each other. The 2 ships collide with an unbelievable screech. Oddly enough, none of the ships made any sound signals. Thankfully, nobody was hurt and both ships came to a halt after the collision. Salami 98. This terrifying boat accident occurred on the 3rd of February, 2006. The ship carrying over 1,300 passengers was wrecked in the Red Sea waves. The accident claimed 101 lives. The ship sailed from Dubai port in Saudi Arabia to the Egyptian port of Safaga. The majority of the passengers were Egyptians working in Saudi Arabia, returning home from their journey of work and earnings. The culprit of the accident was the ferry ship captain Sajet Omar, because when the fire broke out on the upper deck, the ferry was not far from shore, and still the captain decided to head for an Egyptian port. If we momentarily forget about crashes, we could admire the power and might of the ships, resting in silent awe over the amount of cargo that these ships are capable of transporting halfway around the world. And that's all for today. Hit the like button and see you again soon.